Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. Jam-packed one. It actually feels like forever since we've been here because there was no stream on Tuesday night. The boys went out for a night. We had a little bit of a brilliant experience listening to Billy Wingrove from the F2 Freestylers give a talk. We'll touch on that later. But there has been UCL action. There has been Premier League action. There has been controversy. Spurs have done it again. And we've got a bunch of fixtures to preview. So it's going to be a big one, boys. Jam-packed show tonight. RJ, how you going, man? All good?
Yeah, good to be back. You know, for me, I was doing a bit of testing before the show and my normal headphones weren't working as normal. I said, you know what? I've got to pull out the plan B. So I got the new Samsung earbuds. It matches my new watch, for those who can see. Got my old Chelsea face.
Here we go.
Got an important win in the UCL, so I'm buzzing, and it's great to be back with you, gentlemen. And of course, those in the live chat, and Rob will be with us in a moment, I'm sure.
Mate, there's two types of people. There's the people that, like me, take their smartwatch off before a podcast because they don't want to flex, and then there's people like you who feel the need to put their smartwatch in front of the camera and just show off, mate. Yeah, absolute show off. Robbie's back. Robbie, how are you going, boss?
Good, mate. Yeah, I just had to drop out because I couldn't hear RJ. He was having some problems before, and then I was having them. No, all good.
Lucky you. I wish I had the problem of not hearing RJ.
Sound like my wife, mate. What's going on here? Getting bashed. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you who we do like to hear from. Those that are lucky enough, or we're the lucky ones, that are somehow confused enough to come and join us each week. And we've got the likes of, well, as I like to call them, the usual suspects. We've got declared, and most definitely we saw Conte's interview. We will 120% unpack that one. We also have Tom, one of my favourite Manchester United supporters from the United podcast. Great to see you in the chat, my man. We got my fellow Blues brother, Daniel. Good to see you, legend. 2-0, huge win. Keen to get your thoughts about the match when we go through it, of course. I've got to give a big shout out to David there. Proud Leeds supporter, still making the effort to turn up when it would have been the easy way out to take the walk. So big ups to David, and we'll make sure we won't bag our Leeds too much because I'm sure you heard him, my man. We've got Alex here. Good to see you, Alex. And I saw your nice comment, looking sharp, RJ. Only if that were true, my man. And a couple more just to round it off before we really get stuck into all of the action. We've got Gunnar Eddy. Good evening, boys. And we've got Emad, who had a great name suggestion for our promo tweet before. As I said, in the improvement opportunities box, we will file it. Enough of that. Introductions are out of the way. UCL recap, boys. We had a few very important matches that were played, a couple of draws, and one of the teams, my team, of course, got away with a very important 2-0 win. I might kick things off just to give you my view of the match and also what it means for us for the second leg. So just to recap, Chelsea beat Lille 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, and it wasn't as comfortable as what the scoreline suggested. I think we fully deserved to win the match, but I think I've got to take my metaphorical hat off and give a lot of credit to Lille. They were physical, they created a lot of half opportunities on the break, and they really kept us honest on a lot of occasions despite not creating any real big chances. But overall, really liked the goals that I saw from both Kai Havertz, who scored on his 8th touch, which a lot has been made of Romelu Lukaku's infamous 7-touch disaster class. All round, he really improved our attack in terms of dropping deep, pressing with a lot of energy, really interlinking with both the midfield, who I'll touch on in a moment, as well as his fellow attackers. And Christian Pulisic, Captain America, a lot has been spoken about him in the Chelsea community as to is his position under threat long-term because he's the guy with potential who's failed to live up to the hype. But when he's played in the right position and he gets a little bit of confidence, he's someone that really can make a difference for us. So I'm really hoping for the post-2019-20 lockdown version of Captain America. And then there was 2 players that I want to speak about just briefly. N'Golo Kante, Kenhi or Kante, as I like to say, and Emad has rightfully brought up in the chat, every club's dream player. He's almost like 2 players, isn't he? And I'll get your thoughts on that. Dropped another European masterclass. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's his 5th man of the match performance out of his last 6 appearances or something to that effect. And then there's the Benjamin Button of football, Thiago Silva, 37, absolutely dominating at the top of his game. It's sometimes hard to just remember that at 37, you'd think you'd be at the twilight of your career, probably on a boat somewhere after a well-worked, trophy-laden career he's earned, but he's still performing at the peak of his powers. So massive credit to Thiago Silva. Boys, what did you think of Chelsea's 2-0 win? Because it's a big advantage.
I didn't obviously get to catch this match, but I just want to touch on a couple of things you said. One, Conte, we all know that's what he's capable of. We all know he can do that. The issue with N'Golo Kante is keeping him on the pitch, and that seems to be the problem. It's such a shame that injuries are plaguing his career at this point, but when he's fit, when he's there, this is what Conte does. There's a reason, and it's so rare, it's such a good player, he's not hated by anyone in the football world. Like, everyone loves Conte, and that's because the guy is just a pure competitor and seems like an absolute champion. So credit to him, absolute credit to him. But yeah, and Silva, I was very skeptical when he signed. I thought he was going to be a bust, and we've seen some defenders come in their twilight and really buckle. The case of this guy, he's an absolute machine. So yeah, two good players that you picked to acknowledge there, RJ, and it was a big win for your boys too.
Yeah, Robbie, just on Conte, just good to get an outsider's perspective. He's pretty much universally loved by most players and fans just because of what he offers. But Scott brings up the whole availability issue, which is very fair. He's one of those players, to me, I kind of almost like want to wrap him up in cotton wool and just save him for the big nights, because on his day he's a game changer. He's not just a wrecking ball defensive midfielder. He's a genuine box-to-box, and he's someone where he probably doesn't get enough plaudits for his capabilities on the ball. He's not the best finisher, but he's someone that he can create an opening with his burst of pace and his lung-busting runs. His contract is due to expire next season along with Jorginho. If you were in the Chelsea hot seat running the recruitment strategy, do you look to extend these guys' contracts, or do you look to see, hasn't been playing that much, he's at his twilight years, do we try to look to sell someone now before it's too late? What would your position be on both Conte and Jorginho if you were running the Chelsea recruitment strategy?
On Conte first, you got to keep him in. It's just like for us, when someone's got it's the same kind of story for Juan Mata in our situation. It's just, I didn't think he was going to even get a contract this year. And, I don't even know, he's barely got many minutes here and there. He gets some playing time, but sometimes just someone with that much experience and, just an old school kind of player who's just a genuine player on and off the field. You keep him for the dressing room. You keep him around the club. You keep him for all the accolades that they have. So, I would definitely be keeping Conte. If you sell him, I don't think Chelsea's worried about money, and I don't think you'd go for big money, obviously. But you also said about Thiago Silva, how he's only got he's 37 now and he's still doing it at top level. Well, Conte's still got quite a few years in him, and he might it's just again, for us, Matic, he's nowhere near as. How old is Conte?
Good question. You're on mute, RJ. You're on mute, boss.
Yeah, I thought you could have read my lips. I was saying champions of the world. No, just kidding. He's 30, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. The live chat's probably more experienced. But I know he's not young. He's not old. But Chelsea's policy for over 30 is generally no 30. More than double digits.
Yeah. Look, 30 and his class, you definitely got to keep him in. Like I said, even if he plays every second, every third game, he's someone that, like I said, he comes off the bench and just does a job and you can rely on him. Yes, he's very injury prone now, but I'd definitely be keeping him. Jorginho, I don't know, he's very mixed up with the whole Chelsea faithful. Some love him, some don't. Obviously,
what gives you that impression, mate?
Exactly. Italian bias. Look, I think he's a good player. If Chelsea don't want him, I'm sure Italy will open him up with open arms again to bring him home.
Yeah, look, I think they made some good points. I know Pranav and Declared Pranav firstly brought up a good point about his first half performance was really warming into it. But then the second half, he just was on this continual rise. And it's like he's playing the Champions League final over again. And Declared brought up the massive wages he's on and the fact that he will be 31. So it's easy for us to sit here, the ones not managing the books, balance sheet wise. But it'll be interesting. If it was up to me, I would want him to stay there because I think he's very close to becoming one of those top tier Chelsea legends. Like I'm talking like the top of the crop because he's basically won it all and been instrumental in the process. But enough about Chelsea as I can
10
sing
minutes of
praises
Chelsea is
for
10
years.
minutes too much.
I
Let's
know.
go.
We got to get to the mighty Spurs.
Spurs.
We got to get to Spurs. But
I want to get to
before we get to
Spurs.
I know, but let's not bottle it. You're trying to force me to bottle.
Only reason I locked up tonight.
I bet you did. Villarreal,
Let's go
Juventus,
United, Robbie.
1-1. I know, but United, tell us, Rob. They got a fortunate goal. We had our little group chat, and my quick perspective was, for all of the dominance that Atletico have, and I already had my puns about United losing, saying they weren't athletic enough, but they kind of blew it for me. Then Elanga comes on, instant impact, but Jan Oblak, that was another instance about just how far his fall from grace has been. His positioning, he basically mightn't have been there. He was that bad, but full credit to Fernandes and great finish from Elanga. What were your thoughts about the match overall, Robbie? And then Scott, you can chime in too.
Look, boys, as I say, I'm happy with the result, and I think any United fan is crazy not to take an away draw in Spain that we always struggle in the Champions League round of 16, and now we're taking back to Old Trafford. I think that's a massive advantage to us that we weathered the storm, because that first half, it was embarrassing. Nearly, it was shocking. The lineup was pretty it was pretty eye opening for me for starters. Ralph put in Victor Lindelof playing the centre back at right back. That was pretty weird. I don't know why, considering that both Dallo and Aaron Wan-Bissaka had a good game on the weekend. So I was very shocked at that appointment there. But look, just nothing had worked for us. Credit to Atletico. They came out, they pressed us. They were real high intensity at the start of the game.
Nice goal as well, of course.
I was just bringing that up. Look, it was the other Portuguese number 7, the apprentice one, João Felix. He's probably just a bit taller than me, man. To him to make that run and slide straight past Harry Maguire, great finish. A little bit of luck off the post, but the whole play, that whole 10-minute build-up was just all Atletico. That whole half was Atletico, to be honest. So for me to go into the break at 1-0 down, I'm like, kind of thank God, because I think it was in extra time. They had the unfortunate come off the crossbar. That was a bit of luck for us. But I did think second half we did get better, because we couldn't have really got any worse. When he did make the 3 changes, I thought that's when the game really turned for us. 25 minutes to go, all like-for-like changes. You bring on Tellez, you bring on Wan-Bissaka, you bring on Matic. Got a lot more possession, controlled the game, and actually had a goal, and we were actually camped in their half for a little bit. And like you caught it before, mate, nice link-up play all up for the goal. A nice through ball. Again,
very direct, wasn't it? That's exactly what you like to see.
A lot of people are going to say the defenders should have done better. I'm on the attacking side. So, he continued his run, got the ball, took his chance and scored the goal. Bad mistake again from Oblak, but he's had a few blunders, like not just today. I think his season has been a bit like that. But at the end of the day, mate, they were the Spanish champions last year. We were over there in a very hostile crowd. I'm absolutely wrapped with the result. Definitely not the performance. And I'm quite confident that we can do the job at Old Trafford in 3 weeks' time.
Scott, what do you think about that? Did they walk away with a well-deserved point, or was it one of those ugly highway robberies?
That's it.
Smash and grab. Scott,
sometimes
smash and grab.
They're the most satisfying points sometimes, because you've got away with one. And I think, again, didn't get to catch a full match here. I only saw some highlights. But from what I saw, it seemed like United got away with one. And that's what good teams do. Good teams make their own luck. They're clinical when they get one chance, one moment, and they come away with points. So that they've done well to take that point, and I'm sure they'll be very happy coming back to Old Trafford with that. I still think Atletico go through. There's something about this United team that, I don't know, I feel like the luck's going to run out in one of these matches eventually.
Yeah, look, I think it is going to be 50-50 again. There's no away goals. They count for nothing now. So this is pretty much a clean slate. They scored the goal. We cancelled it out. We go again at Old Trafford. But like I've said many times in the past couple of months, how many times have United had an early lead and we've thrown it away, and I've said it felt like a loss. So this is the opposite for me today. We really didn't deserve it. We got lucky and we got a draw, and this one actually feels like a win for me. So
look, I want to say something too. I don't think when this draw is announced, there's this, I don't know, I feel like there's this perception and it's this big David and Goliath thing. United have got no chance. Atletico's at the peak of the power. No. They're not. they're not. Atletico's been poor this season. United have been poor. The reality is, regardless of who goes through, very, very unlikely that either of them are going to be serious contenders. No. But that's why I think that goal was huge for United, because now that will give them confidence that despite playing below average and should have lost, they didn't lose. Now being at home, like Tom said, very hard to beat so far into Ralph. I actually think a lot of the pressure's on Simeone now, because their defence, a lot of people are still conflating that old robust defence of yesteryear. They've been very shaky this year, even though they're pretty okay in attack. I think they're going to have a real tough time at Old Trafford, but it's going to be interesting either way. I'll tell you what else was interesting. I'm not sure if you guys caught any of the highlights, but even in the other game, Benfica Ajax played a very entertaining 2-2 draw. Rob, I know you probably caught them as well. Scott, did you happen to get a chance to see any of the goals as well?
Nothing on this one, so I'll leave it to Robbie and you.
Look, obviously, I didn't see any of it because I was watching the United game at the same time. I seen the score. I seen Sebastian Haller got on the score for both an own goal and thing. But he's killing it, and he's one of the top goal scorers in the Champions League at the moment. So yeah, I think that's actually have to say that's a pretty good result for Benfica, because I would have thought that Ajax might have done a job on them, but 2-2 draw, and they've got to go away now. And again, it's clean slate. Anything can happen again. So that'll be an interesting second leg as well. Just quickly, I wanted to mention, obviously, the 1-1 with Juventus yesterday. Obviously, I didn't see the Chelsea game because I was watching that. I won't take long at it. Mate, opposite to what United do, we started literally on fire. 30 seconds in, Vlahovic on his Champions League debut scored a great goal. First half, we absolutely dominated. And then just again, Allegri this season, mate, he's got this thing of, he gets a lead and he's just kind of going back to that, Italian old school kind of sit back, protect the lead, roll away. I'm like, just go and try and get a second goal and try and kill it away. I don't understand why they're going to invite pressure. Anyway, second half, Villarreal again and Emery, they really came out, pressed for that goal, got the goal. So again, that's all to play for. But again, I think Juve edged that at home in front of a nice hostile crowd at Turin.
At least now, but the interesting stat out of the past 2 days is that 3 of the 4 matches ended in draws, so it could go either way. Chelsea's in the driver's seat, of course, but you can never rule out Lille at home. So if they score early, it could be very interesting. But
it's an easy draw. You're through.
Well, mate, I hate when people say that. That's why I'm knocking on wood. Mate. Knocking on wood, this very hard head. But look, the Premier League, that's what we're going to switch our attention to. And for me, I'll look at the results. 3 big results. We firstly had Crystal Palace, the Eagles soaring high, 4-1 against Watford. We obviously had the Reds and David, sorry to tell you, mate, absolute shellacking, 6-0. I'm sure you watched it full detail. I only saw the extended highlights. I need you to tell me in the chat what went wrong, my friend, and we're going to discuss it. And then there was arguably the most shock result of all. I did not expect Spurs, after the highest of highs against City, to crash back down to earth, losing 1-0 to 18th place Burnley.
Didn't
Scott,
you, though?
your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I know we're sitting here saying we didn't expect it, and I can't remember what I predicted last week. I probably would have predicted Spurs to win, but I'm not shocked, because this is what they do. We know they're kryptonite to Man City. Yes, but Man City hate playing Spurs. But this is what they do. They bottle it when they have opportunities. They could have used that win against City to really springboard their season.
To spur them on, some would say.
Well, yes, I'll leave the wordplay to you, but that win should have been the catalyst for something huge. And now they're in the mud. Conte has absolutely lost the plot this morning. For a manager who I speak so highly of, and who, I've made no secret, I'd have loved him at Arsenal. But seeing what he did this morning, it's an absolute brain snap, poor piece of management. It's something you would expect from someone who had no experience in the game. I can't get my head around these comments from him. I understand that I would hate to be affiliated with Spurs. I would hate to manage them. Being around there, like, his life must be awful. but you don't come out in public and do what he did. I think it's so wrong of him, so unprofessional. As much as it was funny, I'm separating the humor aspect, which I was laughing all day. You have to separate the humor from looking at it as a situation, and it's poor form from Conte for me. It's
Robbie, do you agree that? Like, do you share the same sentiments as Scott? Like, is he crossing the line? Is he just being overly honest? Because I had a bit of a different take on it, but what are your thoughts on the whole Conte-versial interview?
Again, I'm not going to shy away from a bit of bias, but I think it's just Conte being Conte. He's in every job he's had, he's always been very outspoken and very honest. He doesn't like to hide or anything like that. And that's not just now at Spurs. That's at Inter, that was at Juventus, that was for the Italian national team. If he doesn't like something, he puts a point and he'll go if he needs to. With the Spurs one this morning, I was listening to it live. I was on TalkSport listening when it came off, and he sounds like a broken man. And sometimes, like, I think it's a little bit of credit to him, to be honest. Like, for someone to come out and say, "I've come in to improve the team. I'm not doing my job." Like, it seems like he's kind of inviting to be sacked, or he wants to walk because he's saying four losses out of the last 5 games. I've come in to better this team to reach Champions League. He goes, we're in relegation form at the moment. He's pretty much saying he can't get anything better out of the team. So I think he's a little bit throwing the team under the bus, but he's kind of doing it to himself as well. He's saying, I've come in to do a job. And why? He's being honest. And how many times have we asked for players, for managers to be honest with themselves? How many times? Look, for me, it doesn't bother me, mate. He's going to be honest, and there's been many of times when I can't stand when a manager's doing bad or he can't get something, and they sit there, the manager, and they nod their heads like, yeah, we'll be okay next week, and we'll just do it again. Mate, just tell the truth. If that's how you feel and you don't think you can do a job, mate, I hope he walks, to be honest.
Mate, he's been there a couple of weeks, though.
He's been there 6 months.
This is that's nothing in football. That's nothing in football.
It's the same thing as a relegation fight. How many times, like Watford and all those clubs?
To me,
if it's not working,
a loser mentality. It's a loser's mentality from Conte, because you know what? I was stunned when he took the job, because we all knew, people know that Spurs weren't going to splash the cash in the transfer window. They still signed a couple of players, but they let many go, right? He got players he wanted, though. They're players that he wanted. I'm sure they didn't come from anyone else. To come in and then say, no, a couple of months in, it's not been that long, and say, I can't do the job. Back yourself. Back yourself. You are one of the most highly esteemed managers in the world. You've come out in the media and basically said, I'm not good enough to turn this around. These players aren't good enough to turn this around. Have that talk in the dressing room, or go to the board and just resign. Why do you need to do it in the media and invite them to sack you? I think it's such poor form. Loser's mentality. I wouldn't take him for Arteta. If you said to me now, take Conte, Arteta out, I would say no, thank you.
All right, no worries.
You know what?
You wouldn't take him for Arteta, a serial winner.
Not right now.
No. You talk crap about Arteta every week, and because he's made one thing like this, bang under the bus.
Loser mentality.
He did say he felt sorry for the fans. He does chop and change with his views. He's being honest on one hand, but I suppose you just got to ask yourself, what's the end benefit of coming out and doing it? Because the transfer window's passed now. You can't change it until the end of the season. Is he trying to distance himself from saying, I can't do anything about it, this team's already toxic? I'm just trying to understand his motivation, because I think he's close to walking, and we all know what the obvious thing is that might happen. If he does go there, there's a certain other job that's close by that he might take that's quite attractive. But I don't know. I thought to myself, I can understand why he's raw and being honest about it, but at the same time, I'm thinking, what's the point now? Because your players are still there now. What's the end goal? But look, maybe you just got to tell it how it is, man, and blow off some steam. And like we said about Henry last week, coming out and saying these players need to step up, maybe that's his way of shellacking them in public and saying they need to grow a pair and really start proving me wrong. I think
his attitude, man, you're one of the most highly regarded coaches in the world. You're basically rolling over and giving up in public, in the media, melting down when you were happy after you beat Man City last week. Now you've had a bad result. You're rolling over and saying, yeah, I can't fix this. I'm not good enough. The players aren't good enough. These are the players you signed up for. As a coach, go in, prove your pedigree and improve them. And I can see Alex's point here. We've had all these coaches. They can't get a tune. Your board are responsible too. But what is getting a tune out of Spurs? Not challenging for a title because they're not in that tier. They're not in the tier. United aren't.
They should be challenging for Champions League football. They should be doing that.
The thing is, look at this season so far. They can still challenge for Champions League football. But when your manager just rolls over, plays dead and gives up, and he's meant to be this big serial winner, I know I've talked crap about Arteta, but I genuinely believe I wouldn't take him now. I just think that mentality is so weak.
I don't think you're looking at what he's saying as well, Scott.
It's
4
weak.
losses out of 5 last games. That's relegation form. So if any club,
look at our start to the season.
Look at Pep, for instance. If he got City 4 losses out of his last 5 games, I'm sure he'd be saying the same thing. I think the board have to look at this and assess the situation, because someone like a City or even a Chelsea, at that matter, if that was happening there, they're one of the clubs that don't take losing, and that's what Conte said. I'm not used to losing. I'm not.
You shouldn't have gone to Spurs. You've gone to Spurs.
That's on him. He didn't get the United game. Spurs came in a week later. They would have offered him all the money in the world. I think he's one of the most highly paid managers. Of course he's going to take it. He wants to be back in the Premier League, in the best league in the world. Of course. Now he's probably invited himself, like I said, to be sacked so he can get a payout and leave as well. So.
And that, to me, it's despicable, man. It's just such a weak mentality.
Well, here's another angle. If you were the Spurs board and Daniel Levy, how would you have taken listening to that? Is that acceptable, having the manager speak like that and discrediting the club's brand? Like, some fans will say, you know what, they deserve it because they've shortchanged us and they've brought this guy in, haven't backed him. What do you want him to do? You can't, what do you say, make strawberry jam out of pig something, as we know. So who's really at fault here? But look, if I'm the board, I would say, you knew the situation you're in. You're supposed to be a world-class coach. Start working some miracles because we could use it. But equally, he probably feels frustrated because he probably thought he was going to get back in. So you know what it is. Truth is a matter of perspective. And all we know is Conte is probably closer on the way out than he is from staying there beyond the end of the season if he makes it that far. So I don't know, boys. It's going to be something to keep an eye out for. But I tell you who we all should be keeping an eye out for. Red hot Liverpool, 6-0. I know it's only Leeds. They're only a League 2 club. Just kidding, David, but they were on fire this morning, particularly obviously that last 20 minutes, very red hot. Robbie, I'm not sure if you caught any of the highlights, and then Scott, get yours, but I saw it. I caught it at the end, and I'm thinking, I wish we weren't playing them in a few days' time in the League Cup final. But Leeds, again, I have my question marks about, are they too rigid with their approach? Should they be more pragmatic and just try to shut up shop? I don't know if it was just Liverpool being too good or Leeds being too open. What did you think of that, Rob?
Yeah, look, I did catch the goals and the highlights, and mate, I don't know, number one, how Bielsa's still in the job, to be honest. How people just keep batting an eye and, sweeping this one under the carpet, but they're getting
loved there, isn't he? He's really
4
loved.
Last week. 6 this week. I think, even Spurs, they've got to play him next. I can see them putting a few past him. He's just has to be this sort of player. Defensively, they're shocking. I don't know if you've seen that Virgil van Dijk goal at the end. The guy it was like the last minute of the game. He didn't have to jump.
Free
he just
header.
ran and headed the ball, and it was just, no one was marking him. Free header. I'll take the piss out of us. Last week, we were 139 corners without a header. And who did we get the header against? Leeds. They're honestly so bad defensively. I know they've got a couple players out in attack, but it's just, they're really nosediving, and if they don't be careful, I'm really think they're going to get sucked into this relegation scrap.
Scott, are they in that conversation now, or is that just a bit of alarm bells unnecessarily?
I've been very critical of Bielsa and Leeds this whole season. I said at the start, I feel like they were one-season wonders. There was the fairy tale, the media hype. They're also excited to have Leeds back in the Prem. And people figured out how they're going to play. They've had a bad run with injuries and all of that. But mate, with COVID, all the clubs have had periods of challenge. I don't see how Bielsa improves this. Like, you know what kind of manager he is. He's going to get his team to go and he's going to attack. But they haven't even attacked well this season, and that's his staple. That's his trademark. That's what he does. And it hasn't happened. It really hasn't happened. So I know there are still some Leeds fans out there who staunchly stand by him. They've got a lot of time. I know Davide, I think, would still very much be BLC in, but I don't see how he redeems himself. I think he has to go. They need to do something to stop the bleeding here. It's getting out of hand. But on the other hand, credit to Liverpool. What do you say? I mean, we could sit here for an hour and talk about how good they are. I think they've been buoyed by that Man City Spurs result earlier on, and they're seeing that there's a little bit of blood in the water. This one's gone to the wire. I don't think.
But I think this is a good comment, Scott. I think this is right from Pranav. This is one of those situations where, you know, we talk about Leeds having that singular, one-dimensional philosophy of all-out attack. I think Liverpool are the ones that are kings of attack, along with City. They're both very dangerous on the ball. And versing a team that likes to try to play attack, that's only got a recipe for disaster, especially because Liverpool's been there, done that. And I think had Liverpool come up against a team like a Burnley, I know they've smashed them recently, but I'm talking about a team that's a bit more defensive-minded. If they were able to put on a cricket score against them, I think I'd be more impressed. But I think this was exacerbated because they were versing a team that played to their strengths, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Mate, you've hit the nail on the head, honestly. Liverpool are just a great team. It's going to the wire. Who do you think? You think Liverpool or City, RJ? If you had to
good question. I know. I still think City. I do. Maybe it's my anti-Liverpool bias. I know I'm going to get shot for that, definitely. But I still think City will do just enough. But it's interesting for the league to have it go down to the wire. What about you boys, Robbie?
I hate Liverpool, but I'm actually starting to sway towards Liverpool, if I'm being honest. I think they're on a whole heap of confidence at the moment. Everyone, including myself, thought they were going to stumble when the African Cup of Nations happened. They didn't. They continued. Like Scotty said, after that Spurs City result last week, I think that's given them even more confidence. They're scoring goals for fun. They've actually overtaken City now in the goal differential, so that's another plus for them. So that game, when they do meet, is going to be crazy, mate. If they can beat City, and like I said, City we've got to play Manchester Derby next week, like Liverpool. If they can,
so that should get City back on track, what you're saying?
At City's home ground, we've got a good result there. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm happy to even maybe let this one slide for City because I'd rather them than Liverpool.
Match fixing.
Yeah, hard. But
Rob,
mate. I'd rather City than Liverpool, mate, any day.
Is that a red card? Just quick question. Is fabricating a result against your direct neighbour rival to hurt another rival a red card offence?
That's an orange card.
No, that's a Martinelli, 2 yellows at one, no warning, no nothing. See you later, get out of here. Jeez.
I reckon.
Boys. Sorry, no, go Scotty.
No.
With Liverpool, I think everyone's got to watch out for them on more than one front. Premier League, the Champions League. Obviously, they've got the cup final against Chelsea on the weekend. They're still in the FA Cup. They're in everything, and that's a weird thing because normally Klopp doesn't really care about your kind of Carabao Cups and the FA Cups. They're normally knocked out in the first rounds, but they're fighting on all fronts. So they're even in more competitions than City at the moment. So beware. I hope they falter, obviously, but I'd be aware they're on the red hot form at the moment.
Well, as long as they don't fabricate any more home kit COVID tests, then we should be all right for the rest of the league's integrity. But let's look forward now. We've taken a backward seat, and yes, just as a reminder, we weren't here on Tuesday night because Scott, Rob, and I attended an awesome session at Ultra Football hosting F2 Freestylers, and we got to hear some very special, deep and personal insights from Billy Wingrove, who was an absolute gentleman. Look, how happy is he? He's obviously impressed to get our photos. And the best part, the boys and I waited for like a good hour. It was raining heavily, but this guy, he'd just been spoken for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then he was that much of a gentleman. I thought he was going to go in there, shake your hand and get a photo and get lost. He wanted to have a full conversation and everything. What did you guys think? Was he genuine or am I overstating this?
Nah, you smashed it, mate. He was absolutely one of the most genuine, you would say celebrity, I guess. Probably the most genuine, a high-profile person I've ever come across.
He's only got 10 million followers, so I think he's pretty in the high.
Almost as many as us now. We hit 500 last week.
That'll be us one day, but he was an absolutely cracking bloke. The talk itself was good. It's funny. I mean, you look at like the F2 freestylers and you check out their videos, and it's all like laughs. It's all fun. But it was interesting to hear him talk about some of the battles as well. He spoke about his hip. He's got a bit of an injury for his hip. And to talk about what happens behind the scenes and how taxing it can be sometimes for people like him. But he was an absolute trooper. I know he'll be back out later in the year, they said. So I would definitely check that out. Check him out. Follow Ultra Football. They'll advertise it, I'm sure. But it was a great talk, boys, and a good night out for the lads too. Yeah,
favourite part, Robbie, of the whole evening, aside from that awesome dinner that I recommended.
100%. Look, boys. A feed and a night out with the boys is always the highlight. But again, as you guys said, number one, Tommy doesn't look exactly like Aaron Ramsey quickly. He's a spitting image. But again, I've been following these guys, the F2 guys, for a long time. I had no idea they were coming out. Scotty's like, let's go. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. I thought we were going to go watch a bit of do some freestyle tricks and stuff like that. But during listening, I actually turned around to Scotty and said, I'm actually enjoying this, man, because it was a really good, genuine listen. Again, all the mental health things he was talking about. Just, he's literally one of the OG freestylers, bro. This is before YouTube was around. And, look at him now, 10 million followers. And some of the videos we've seen with some of the greats, Pele, Ronaldinho, Messi, Ronaldo, Juan Mata. There's so many players. He's been here, done that. He was talking about, opening act for the Ballon d'Or the other week when he had one of his most nerve-wracking things he had to do in a suit, kind of perform right in front of Messi and Ronaldo. And just, the whole thing, I won't go into it, but when his dad passed away and how he had to, 1 minute his dad passed away, and next minute he's got to do something with Kevin De Bruyne. And it's just, determination and he was just some guys, like I said, life is up and down, but when you're down, you got to look up and keep going. And honestly, he's just really inspirational and a really genuine guy, like you said.
Yep, sure was. Raw, passionate, inspiring. And as we said when we posted out, that was truly a football thing kind of night. But look, incredible. I'm looking forward to hopefully catching him again next time. But awesome night. Let's now cast our minds forward to the upcoming fixtures because we've got some blockbuster Premier League matches on the horizon. First up, I believe, Scott, it's a battle for the top four. I know we've got Arsenal and Wolves, and I know you're probably going to bring it up on the screen, but just to get the ball rolling on that one, because I know it's there for us, I look at this match as potentially quite season-defining for both of your clubs because as every time one of those contenders gets one result, the other one then falters. So I think now is one of those situations where you've really got to take the scruff of the neck and try to grind out a big win here because this is almost like a 6-pointer for me. I don't know. I'll have to throw a prediction, of course. At the Emirates, Wolves have been outperforming their XG, I think, by 10 points more than they should have so far, which is impressive. Speaks to how clinical they are. But there's something about Arsenal too that gets me a bit confused, and I know they can play ball in a day. So you know what? I'm going to lock in an Arsenal win. I'm going to go 1-0 here. 1-0 to the Gunners. It's going to be that kind of tight game for me. What do you boys think?
Robbie, you want to go next?
I'm hoping for a draw, obviously, because Arsenal is the one I think they're going to be our direct rival now. I'm kind of not disrespecting Spurs, but they're 2 games in hand. We've got 7 points on them now. It was a big blow up for them this morning. So Arsenal is the one that I'm kind of hoping is going to start coughing up some points. But I do think at home they could edge this. I'm going to go 1-0 as well.
Yeah, look, I know we're not doing a preview and I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to keep it really short. This is a massive match for both of these teams. Don't be surprised if there's a little bit of bite to it as well. After we beat them last time, they were a little bit salty about it. Some comments on social media and in the press saying they couldn't believe how we celebrated. Well, sorry. Top 4 is a trophy for everyone else except when we're in contention for it. So, of course, we're going to celebrate. It was a big win. I'm happy with our defence at the moment. I am nervous about up front. I do seriously think we're lacking goals. But we've got guys like Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli. All of them can step in. So I'm actually smelling 1-0 to the Arsenal as well. And I'm hoping
Martinelli play, or is he still on the suspension?
No, I think he'll potentially be out for this one. I'll have to check. I'll check when we do the next one. But even there, Smith-Rowe and Saka scored brilliant goals the other day. Yeah. They've got goals in them. Emil Smith-Rowe is like the 4th highest scorer of all the midfielders. So that's insane to me, considering his minutes. But big match, 1-0 to the Arsenal is my tip.
Very interesting. Now we look at the next match, fellas. We've got the Saints, who are now in the top half of the table, of course, playing pretty good football. Got a good win against Everton last time out, 2-0. Very big result there. Norwich, big trouble now. We're starting to get to the serious crunch time of the season. Really need a result here. Scott, we'll go to you first, then Rob, and I'll round it off.
Yeah, look, Southampton, 2-1 for me. They're in good form. I'll keep it short.
Robbie?
Saints to go marching on, 3-0.
Yeah, lock in a 3-1 to me for the Saints. Another interesting one here. We've got Leeds United seeking desperate revenge after that 6-0 drubbing against the Bottlers, Tottenham. How will they respond after Conte, if he's there? Who knows? I know that's a bit dramatic, but that's going to be a tough game, man. I can see this going 2 ways, but I reckon this will be one of those frustrating games that's not that entertaining to watch. I'll lock in a 1-1 for me.
I genuinely have no idea with this. I'm taking a complete stab in the dark. I'm going to go 1-1 in this too. This Conte thing could go one of 2 ways. It could either really give him a kick up the backside and Spurs come out and play great football, or they're just going to be demoralised and managerless. So I think 1-1 is where I'm most comfortable right now.
Robbie?
2-0 Spurs.
Oh, you're agreeing with Shano. Very good. And Alex, there's no conflict of interest there, mate. I'm glad to see you've acknowledged that.
Is that you counting managers, Alex, or?
Shots fired.
These shots are fired. Speaking of shots needing to be fired, Brighton, the XG Kings, we know, they've been struggling big time lately. And Aston Villa, they've been on the decline. They've had a good start with Stevie G, but it's fair to say that they have been slipping a little bit under his stewardship. No pun intended, or maybe it was. I think this will be a very interesting game, actually. I don't know how many goals, rather, there'll be, but I think it'll be quite entertaining on the eye. Expect pretty even possession-wise. I think Villa's confidence is going to be a factor why they won't walk away with the 3 points here. And again, I reckon this will be another 1-1 draw for me. Robbie, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. This one, I honestly can't. I don't know which way to go. I have to sit on the fence. I'm still shocked that Brighton lost 3-0 to Burnley last week. I was not expecting that one.
They had the same XG, Robbie, 0.65, yet they lost 3-0. Go figure.
Can't believe it. I'm going to go 1-0 as well for this one. I can't pick it.
Villa 2-1 for me. We'll have to do Brentford Newcastle next, Arj. We skip that one.
Yeah, no, I was going to come back to them because they're the richest club in the world now. I'm trying to save them best for last. But let's go to them now. Will the bees sting them? I don't think so. I think it's Brentford. They are getting a bit desperate themselves, but Newcastle, they have been playing better lately. I will pay them credit for that. Brentford, they've been showing a bit of resolve, but they're still lacking it for me. At home will be tough. They will be fired up thinking that this is a massive 6-pointer. I just think Newcastle will edge it just. I know Trippier's out, big loss for them, but lock me in for a 2-1 win to Newcastle here.
Yeah,
same here too.
3-1
Beautiful. The Eagles versus the Clarets now. Crystal Palace, Burnley. I only see this going one way at the moment. I know Burnley got a big 3-0 win and a 1-0 win against Spurs, but it's Spurs, respectfully, doesn't really count. Just kidding, Alex. Don't unsubscribe, mate, Marty. I just think Palace at home are too strong. Vieira's got a really good ship running, and Conor Gallagher, Zaha double. I think at Selhurst, they're going to just be too strong for them. Lock me in for a 2-1 win to the Eagles.
I think the thing with guys like Zaha, he's always had moments in a season where he's explosive, but then he kind of goes missing for 4 or 5 weeks, and you don't really hear about him again. So I'm actually going to go for a bore draw in this game. I'm going 0-0 in this.
But Gallagher's got to score, Scott. That
I
doesn't
know.
make sense.
He's on fire, mate. He really wants to get that Chelsea position next year. Credit to
It's
him.
warming up for him.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Palace, like every time they look good, I pick them, and then something like Burnley come up and upset them. I think I'm gonna have to go out maybe a 1-1 draw as well. I don't know.
It's not a crazy result, is it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I'm probably discounting Burnley a bit because they've had a couple of important results in the past.
They'll be a bit of a high, man. Like I said, 3-0 away to Brighton last week, and then 1-0 to Spurs today. I still think they'll be on a bit of a high, man. And they've got those games up their sleeve that they're taking advantage of at the moment. So I'll go a 1-1 draw. They could snatch it.
Yeah. And Stone Cold Steve Dyche, she's doing a good job digging them out of the drop zone. So, hey, stranger things have happened, right? Manchester United, Watford. It should be a straightforward result, but
It's never
United,
straightforward. Don't say
nothing is straightforward. They are the opposite of straightforward. They are very confusing to analyse and even harder to tip. Robbie, why don't you open up things there? What's going to happen?
Look, I'm actually hoping this is a little bit of a redemption game. This is the one that there you go. This is the one that got Ollie sacked, and we were disaster class that day.
I think he was sacked for a little bit more than that.
Yes, but, I know, but this was the nail in the coffin kind of thing. But look, we need to win this game again, like I say every week, because this is our last kind of winnable game before our hell of a March. Again, we've got all the big boys in March. We've got to go in there with their 3 points and nothing but. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 to United. We don't keep.
I'm just writing down that Robbie's not tipping United to win it all in March. I'm just writing that down.
Pretty much it's going to be draw, I think.
Mr. Squiggles.
Yeah, that's it. 3-1 United.
Yeah, look, I agree with Rob, actually. 3-1 to United. They won't keep a clean sheet, but I think they'll have enough to see off Watford. So 3-1 to United.
Yeah, lock me in for 2-1. I think Watford will be a little bit more stubborn, but they'll break them down eventually. Super Frank's not so super Frank at the moment. Everton are in a bit of a danger situation against the possible champions. It used to be probable, now it's more possible. I do see City winning this. I don't know how straightforward it will be because Everton will be a bit desperate. I just think there'll be enough here. I reckon they'll win 3-1 to City. Scott?
Yeah, look, even though he's a Man City legend, I don't think they'll do Frank any favours. I don't think they'll do him a single favour. I'm going with City to win this one 2-0.
Robbie?
Yeah, look, the obvious one is City there. They've got to bounce back after last week, especially with Liverpool on their heels. I'm going to go 2-0 to City, but I don't know why I could see a 1-1. Just that's my unofficial tip, 1-1, but yeah, 2-0 to City. That's my official tip.
I think E-Man's still a bit upset about Watford and Ollie, mate. Just move on. It's okay. It's all right. He's still a legend for United. Don't be upset. He's all good. But I tell you what, this one's going to be an interesting one. Hammers versus Wanderers. Again, another 6-pointer. It especially depends what happens with your game, Scott. West Ham haven't been convincing lately. I know they're still in the mix and they're right up there, but we know what the Wolves are like. I just think West Ham at home will have enough to get the job done. Just edge them. Again, lock me in for a 2-1 to the Hammers. Robbie?
I'm actually going to go the opposite on this one. I was tipping Arsenal to edge them tomorrow, and I couldn't see them. I think they're going to want to win or want to pick up from a loss. I'm tipping. I'm going to go 1-0 Wolves, their favourite scoreline. I know I've said that West Ham are going to drop, and I can see them dropping, so I'm going to go Wolves to overtake them 1-0.
Yeah, look, I think West Ham are in the mud. They're on the way down, so I'm going to go 1-1. here, to be honest. I think they'll put up a fight at home, but Wolves will take something from this.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then the last one, because obviously the next games are when we're back on Tuesday, the League One Cup final, or the League Cup final, I should say. Mighty Chelsea, champions of the world, versus the red hot Liverpool. It's going to be a blockbuster clash. As we all know, it's obviously not my favourite trophy, but it's a trophy nonetheless. We're hungry for it. We're out of the Premier League. This is another chance to bridge the gap. It's going to be an epic clash, I think, for the neutral to watch. Liverpool, in my opinion, should be the favourites just based on form and the way that they've been playing, despite us winning the games that matter at the moment from a trophy point of view. I want to give my prediction last because I want to see if you boys can convince me a little bit here. So, Scott, how do you think this one's going to unfold?
Mate, you may be champions of the world, but you're not going to be champions of the League Cup.
Nice one.
Look, in all seriousness, I hate Chelsea. I don't hate Liverpool. I'm hoping that they do the business over you. I'd love a repeat of this morning's scoreline because I want to see Chelsea in the mud. It would be lovely, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. I wouldn't be shocked to see extra time come into play in this. It is extra time, right? Not straight to penalties.
I'd say it'd be an extra time.
I'm assuming.
Couldn't tell you we're going to win it in 90, mate. Couldn't care.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool. I think they've just got, whilst you've got a great defence, Mo Salah, Mane, those guys, you only need one to turn up. That's the thing. You only need one, and they'll win you the game. So Liverpool, for me, will do this, but it won't be easy. But 2-1 Liverpool.
Again, it's going to be a really good game for the neutral. I'm the opposite, obviously, to Scotty. I hate Liverpool with a vengeance. I'm not the biggest Chelsea. I'm not a fan of Chelsea either, but I'd rather you guys compared to them. If I'm going to gun to my head for a prediction, I just think that Liverpool a bit more clinical and they've got more goals. I respect. I know Chelsea really, really good defensively. Liverpool aren't as good defensively, obviously. So I just think it's going to be goals that are going to get them over the line. I'll go 2-1 to Liverpool. I don't want it to happen. I hope he's win, but I think Liverpool 2-1. Too many goals.
There's a lot of talk about Lukaku in the chat, but mate, does he even start at the moment?
I don't think he starts. I honestly don't think he'll start.
Yeah. What are you thinking, RJ? Are you expecting to see Kai Havertz playing like that false nine role, or are you expecting Lukaku to come back in for the big game?
Well, mate, that's why Tommy Tuchel's on the big dollars, and I'm just the world-class pundit, of course. But it's the £100 million question, isn't it? It's because that's significant to us. It's no coincidence we look more fluid with someone like Kai, who's hungrier for the press and seems to be a bit more versatile. Lukaku's more of a specialist player who seems to thrive better under a strategic counter-attack type philosophy. He seems to be better that way and needs to adjust. I still think, though, he is someone where if he gets a chance that falls to him, he's more clinical than Kai. He is, but at the same time, he doesn't inject himself enough, and the players don't seem to be on the same page. They don't are on the same rhythm. I'm quite concerned about that, but that's a long-term thing. I do think Kai will start just because I probably want to keep some continuity, and even players like Christian Pulisic, I think, will probably get the nod. I am concerned about the status of both Ziyech, the Moroccan magician, and our Croatian sensation, Mateo Kovacic, because they both came off injured the other day. They're huge losses if they're not available, given the form that they're currently in. Nice to see Mason Mount back in. I would be inclined to start him because you want your better players starting in the big matches, even though he's not match fit. He's been there, done that, won that, and he brings a lot of pace and intensity. We've got to remember the last time we played Liverpool, it was 2-2. We were down 2-0, caught up 2-2. You saw Kovacic's unbelievable volley. Pulisic scored 2 minutes later and could have easily won that match. We were on fire to start with, but Liverpool are Liverpool, and you can't give them too many chances. So to be honest with you, obviously I'm going to go with my heart because I'm a Blues and we're going to win this in 90, as I said. But the scoreline is a bit tougher to pick. I reckon it will be 2-1 to Chelsea. I do think we won't commit the same mistakes as we did last time round. And as long as we've got players like Conte, I assume he's going to be super fit, provided that Kai does start. And fingers crossed, Kovacic could be key to us to really help breaking that press. But I'm going with us to win it, and I'm going with who will I pick? I'll actually pick if he's fit, Kovacic to be my man in a match and another trophy in the Chelsea cabinet. So we'll have to see.
I hope for you do, mate. You know what? If this goes to penalties, Chelsea will win. If it goes to penalties, 100%.
I agree.
On both sides, I think taking the penalties, and it wouldn't surprise me if
Super sub Kepa comes on.
100%, bro. 100%.
Hey, big ups to the guys from the football capital too coming in, and for those that maybe hadn't seen on our social media, we did finally hit that 500 subs. We were on the road to 500. Now we've got there. But a big thank you to all of you who sub, who come in the live chat, because it's much more fun when you're here with us, and especially like to the guys like Tom from the Pubcast who have been there. Football Capital have been good supporters. They're fellow Aussie content creators. We've had so much love from people in the Chelsea community, Arsenal community, United community. So thank you to all of you as well. And check out our fellow Aussie content creators, because it's good for us all to support each other. So
and just to add on to that, Scott, just because now we're hanging with the likes of Billy Wingrove, we're not going to forget we're still the IFT boys from the block. We're not going to forget you guys. You're the OGs, so stick with us. We ride together, as Daniel said in the chat. But let's move now to the fun part of the segment. Let's talk quick fires. Robbie, you're usually the most organised of the three, followed closely by Scott, and then very unorganised myself. So, Robbie, why don't you kick it off?
All right, boys. Wedding crashers or stepbrothers? Which one you picking?
Wedding crashers.
Which one first? Or
which one? Pick one only.
Yeah, I'll go stepbrothers just.
I'll go wedding crashers. This one's a footballing one. Just quick fire. Pep or Ancelotti?
Pep.
Ancelotti
as well.
That's
not even boiling. You look at he's got the Champions Leagues, mate. He's done it in multiple different countries.
Hasn't Pep won the Champions League too with Barca?
Yeah, once. Ancelotti's won twice with Milan, once with Real Madrid.
Yeah, true.
He's got all that accolades. And last one, boys. This one I had to think of for Emma. We had to throw a food one in there. Beetroot on a burger, yes or no?
Bin. Put in the bin.
Double the beetroot. Toss out all the other vegetables.
Oh, definitely no for me. That's up with pineapple on pizza, so it's a no from me as well.
Oh dear. Look, from me, a little bit of a historical one. I know that's one of your favourite topics. If you had to go back in time and live in a certain time period, let's go like 10-year period, couldn't be the 90s, couldn't be the 2000s, couldn't be now or the future, where would you go back to and why?
How'd you go first on this one?
So to go back...
You have to go back.
You have to go back. So it has to be previously to the 90s, you said. It can't be the 90s.
Back.
Before the 90s, okay. I would probably go... This is a great question now.
Thanks, mate.
You know,
do you want me to go first, boys? To buy time?
All right, if you've got your answer. Yeah.
Mate, I'll go to the 60s. Peace and love. I think the world needs a little bit more peace and love at the moment, now the way things are. So the 60s for me.
I'm going to go way back. I'm going to go back to like the Roman days or whatever.
The Vikings, mate.
Yeah, like back with the Romans, like the Caesars, Julius Caesar and all those kind of guys, the Colosseum, all that kind of stuff. Back in the gladiator days, I'd like to go just to experience how it was back then.
Okay.
He wants to be like Gladiator with the Colosseum. No, you're not entertained.
Hey,
That's
it.
Exactly. I'd go, you know what? I was going to say 60s, but because you said 60s, I'm going to go to 70s. Good times.
Why the 70s?
Why? Disco, mate. We're here to disco.
Was that 70s? Or was that 80s?
No, 70s, I'm pretty sure.
Dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. BG. Is that your last one, Scott?
Yeah, that was it, mate. Just one. I thought that was the rule, but Robbie continually breaks the rule.
No, to be fair, we didn't say one. From now on, it'll be one, unless Robbie's got some bangers, and unless the audience have also got some bangers, we'll ask them too. My one, as I thought about, I've been watching a lot of 24, Jack Bauer, of course, legend, hero, icon, idol of ours. Hypothetical situation, you've been kidnapped, just yourself. Which character would you want to come and rescue you if your life depended on it?
You go first, Borgie.
Can be a superhero?
Yeah, I was going to say, no, it has to be like a real person, but I'll allow it.
No, if it's going to be someone real, you can't go past probably MacGyver. He's the OG man. Nothing got MacGyver. He would get you out of anywhere. So I'm going to go MacGyver.
Can you repeat the question again? Sorry, bro. I didn't
So you're taken.
Yep.
And who would come and rescue you? Who would you choose?
I'll have to call my brother, man, to be honest. Is that allowed?
Really? All right. How about an actual movie character or something? Because we know he's an unbelievable hero.
Okay. It's a hard one.
It's all good, man. I don't have work tomorrow.
I know. I'm just trying to think. Is it got to be an action hero? Could it be anyone?
What about Stallone? Something with Stallone.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, from the Expendables or something. Exactly.
Yeah, I know. You know, I'll go Jackie Chan, to be honest. Yeah, because he's got a bit of everything. The tuxedo, the spy. He's got all the moves. Yeah, I'll go Jackie Chan.
You know who I'd go with? I'm gonna go with Liam Neeson, the guy from Taken. If he's the one you want rescuing you, you know, that's got to be the guy. But
what's the guy from Prison Break as well? He'll get you out of something. The guy from Prison Break.
I reckon he'd be unbelievable.
Hey, we had a really good quickfire question. You must have missed it, RJ.
Sorry, go on.
No, you must have missed it for some reason. It comes from my man, Pericelli.
Yeah, I was trying to block him. Sorry.
What's the drink of choice when Liverpool win the League Cup? RJ, you first.
I don't know. I'm sure someone could slip me something nice to drink.
For me, it'd be a fresh cup of RJ's tears, to be honest.
Extra salt.
What about you, Robbie? What are you drinking, mate?
What am I drinking? Well, I hate Liverpool and I hope they don't lose, but I'll have a JD.
Sour grapes.
JD
sour grape juice.
Bleach. Oh, man. I think Tom's one. I love it. Just quickly,
I can't wait to put our gold patch. Our gold patch. That's what I can't wait to display on our jersey. That's all.
I think Football Capitals wrote Johnny English for the rescue. I'm sorry. My cousin, I'm related to Natalie and Broly. She was in the first Johnny English movie. Oh my God. I cannot stand Roland Atkinson. He's in the bin for me. So sorry, really? Football Capital. Definitely not Johnny English. Cannot stand him.
There you
Shots fired. Shots fired. Well, I think, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, people around the world who've gathered to watch us this evening, it's been incredible. We've passed the hour mark. What a show, lads. Any final words before we wrap this bad boy up? No,
just take care, stay safe, and we'll see you back on Tuesday night. We'll be when's your match? Monday, yeah?
Monday, 3:30. And yeah, I'm going to hopefully, fingers crossed, make a second appearance back on Chelsea TV, official Chelsea TV. So keep an eye as it is out for it.
Come and join us on Tuesday night to laugh at RJ's misfortune. Maybe we can see if we send a message to Kat, see if she can jump on and laugh at you as well. Would be good fun.
No, look, Robbie? Good to be back, guys. It did feel like it was a while. That when it was a week, not twice a week kind of thing. But good to be back. Always enjoy the live chat as usual. Thanks again for the 500 subs for everyone, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Wonderfully said. I haven't much more to add, but champions of the world, champions of the League Cup, time will tell. Until then, take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Ciao.